Every year, Hollywood bets hundreds of millions of dollars on a single film, but only a handful have ever crossed the threshold that separates a blockbuster from a true cultural phenomenon. These are the movies that packed cinemas across every continent, broke records, and redefined what a film can earn. We are counting down the 5 biggest box office earners in cinema history, and the gap at the top is staggering. At number 5 is Ne Zha 2, the Chinese animated sequel that stormed into the global top 5 with approximately $2.1 billion, around 1.9 billion euros, at the box office, making it the highest-grossing animated film ever made and the highest-grossing Chinese film in history. Released in early 2025, it dominated Chinese New Year screens before expanding internationally, riding extraordinary domestic demand from audiences who had made the original Ne Zha a landmark of Chinese animation. Produced on a budget of approximately $80 million, around 74 million euros, its return on investment dwarfs almost anything Hollywood has achieved. Ne Zha 2 became the proof that non-English language films can reach the global top 5 on the strength of a single market alone. Number 4 is Titanic, James Cameron's 1997 epic that earned approximately $2.26 billion, around 2.1 billion euros, worldwide including re-releases, and held the title of highest-grossing film in history for 12 years. No studio wanted to finance it. The budget ballooned from $100 to $200 million, around 184 million euros, making it the most expensive film ever made at that time, and Fox nearly pulled out entirely. Cameron famously deferred his own salary to keep it afloat. Then it opened in December 1997 and ran in cinemas for months, with audiences, particularly young women, returning to watch it multiple times. It became the first film ever to gross $1 billion, then $2 billion, and dominated the Academy Awards with 11 Oscars. Titanic proved that spectacle plus story could move audiences on a scale nobody thought possible. Number 3 is Avatar, The Way of Water, James Cameron's long-awaited sequel that earned $2.32 billion, around 2.1 billion euros, worldwide despite arriving 13 years after the original. With a reported budget of $350 million, around 320 million euros, and a marketing spend that pushed the break-even point past $2 billion, this was one of the riskiest films ever greenlit. Cameron himself admitted the film needed to be one of the highest-grossing movies of all time just to turn a profit, and it delivered exactly that. The underwater visual technology, developed specifically for this film, set a new benchmark for cinema, and audiences in markets as far apart as China and Brazil turned out in record numbers. Number 2 is Avengers: Endgame, the 3-hour conclusion to the Marvel Infinity Saga that earned an almost unbelievable $2.8 billion, around 2.6 billion euros, at the global box office. Released in April 2019, it shattered opening weekend records in virtually every major market simultaneously. Endgame overtook James Cameron's Avatar to briefly become the highest-grossing film of all time. Avatar had held that record for 10 consecutive years. The film was the payoff for 21 Marvel films and more than a decade of audience investment, and it delivered on every level. With a budget of $356 million, around 325 million euros, it returned nearly 8 times its production cost, a margin even the biggest studios rarely achieve. And the highest-grossing film of all time, by a clear margin, is James Cameron's Avatar. Released in December of 2009, it earned $2.92 billion, around 2.7 billion euros, worldwide and held the global box office record for more than a decade, only briefly losing it to Endgame before reclaiming the crown after a re-release. Avatar was the first film in history to gross $2 billion, a milestone many experts thought was unreachable. Cameron spent 12 years developing the technology to make it, including a proprietary 3D camera system that changed how the entire industry shoots film. With a budget of $237 million, around 218 million euros, and earnings of nearly $3 billion, Avatar remains the undisputed champion of world cinema, and a sequel has already proved the franchise is far from finished. From Ne Zha 2's $2.1 billion, around 1.9 billion euros, to Avatar's $2.92 billion, around 2.7 billion euros, these 5 films together have earned more than $12 billion at the global box office. James Cameron alone directed 3 of the 5. If you enjoyed this countdown, drop the name of your favorite blockbuster in the comments and subscribe for more rankings every week.